Hello, wonderful audience. Welcome to Julie's channel. Wow, this story is a heavy one, guys. Today we're diving into the complicated, dramatic, and heartbreaking situation surrounding Jim and Bobye Holt, once very close friends of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, and their recent custody battle that's rocked their family. Buckle up because the layers of this story are wild and so hard to process. So, here's the gist. Jim and Bobye Holt have officially lost custody of two of their minor children, ages 13 and 8. This was after an Arkansas judge ruled that the parents were unfit. And I know, you're probably thinking, how did we even get here? Well, it's not an overnight thing, it's part of a long, drawn-out and tragic family struggle that stretches back months and even years. Let's rewind a bit. Jim and Bobye Holt were once so close to the Duggar family that their eldest daughter was actually in a courtship with Josh Duggar, the oldest Duggar son. And yes, I mean that Josh Duggar, the one who's been all over the news for all the wrong reasons. But back then, this was before all the scandals broke. The plan was for their daughter to marry Josh. The Holts were, in many ways, almost like extended family to the Duggars. But as we've learned, nothing in these families is ever as perfect as it seems on the outside. Fast forward to April 2023. Bobye Holt filed for an order of protection against her husband Jim, yes, her own husband, who she's been with since 1987. They share 11 children together. Now, we don't know exactly what led to this, but according to court documents, there were serious allegations of abuse. Jim has been accused of both physical and mental abuse toward his children, something that Spencer, their adult son, claims has been happening for years. In fact, Spencer was the one who stepped in and filed for emergency guardianship of 3 of his younger siblings. He essentially said, this abuse needs to stop, and the kids need to be protected. In the petition Spencer filed, he detailed what can only be described as years of torment. He mentioned how the younger children were terrified of their father, that they'd been witnesses to the abuse he'd inflicted on their older siblings. It's gut-wrenching to read that this wasn't just physical abuse but also severe mental harm. Imagine growing up in that environment, knowing your older siblings went through it and now it's your turn. Horrifying. But what's equally shocking? Bobye, the mother, who had initially filed for that protective order, dismissed it by the end of 2023. No explanation, no warning, just dropped it. And that's when things took a turn. With no protection order in place anymore, Jim returned to the home, and according to Spencer, that meant the abuse cycle continued. Spencer was having none of it. He took things further, telling the court that his mother wasn't fit to protect the kids either, claiming she was complicit by letting Jim back into their lives despite everything that had happened. Can you imagine the heartbreak of a son having to fight against his own parents in court, not only for his siblings' safety but also because he knows firsthand what they're going through? Now, Jim and Bobye Holt fought back in court, denying all the abuse allegations. They admitted that 2 protection orders were issued but claimed they were granted without a formal hearing. The couple denied that the children were afraid of their father, essentially saying that Spencer wasn't qualified to be a guardian. According to them, this whole thing was a huge misunderstanding, and they wanted another couple to take over guardianship if necessary. But guess what? The court didn't see it their way. In February 2024, after testimony from both sides, the court declared that Spencer was indeed qualified, suitable, and fit to be the guardian of his siblings. And the judge's findings were damning. There was a clear history of abuse in the household, and the children were in imminent danger. So Spencer was given permanent guardianship of the oldest minor child and temporary guardianship of the 2 younger ones. But the story doesn't stop there. Jim was ordered to continue counseling, and visitation between the parents and their kids was to be tightly controlled by a counselor and an attorney representing the children. As if this situation wasn't tragic enough, Jim and Bobye were also ordered to pay child support to Spencer. And even more recently, in May 2024, the guardianship for the oldest child was dismissed when she turned 18, but for the younger ones, the drama only continued. In August 2024, yet another petition was filed. This time, Spencer's sibling, Christian Holt, stepped forward as the substitute guardian for the 2 remaining minor children. Christian apparently had already been a huge part of their lives during this guardianship period, offering them love, support, and a safe environment. It seems that the younger children had bonded so much with her that they even wanted to live with her full-time. And I mean, how could they not? After everything they've been through, they're just looking for stability, right? Jim and Bobby, of course, fought back against this too. They admitted their kids were close with one another but argued that Spencer and Christian had been working to alienate the children from them. They even accused Christian of having extreme bile toward them, saying she wasn't a fit guardian because her anger toward her parents would hinder the children's emotional healing. Can you believe that? Instead of focusing on what's best for the kids, they seem more interested in maintaining control. But despite their objections, the court once again ruled against Jim and Bobby. On September 26, 2024, an Arkansas judge granted Christian guardianship after a mediation process. The court's decision was clear: the Holts were unfit, and the children needed a guardian to ensure their safety and well-being. However, Jim and Bobby were allowed limited phone calls with their children twice a week and supervised visitation. Over time, those visits would gradually become unsupervised, but it was all very conditional. One wrong move, and everything could change. It's heartbreaking to think about the emotional toll this is taking on the kids, who have been through so much already. And it's not over yet. It's like one dark secret after another was piling up, not just for the Duggars but for the Holts too. And in case you're wondering, the Duggar family hasn't commented on the Holt situation, at least publicly. The tangled web of relationships, the abuse allegations, the court battles, it's all incredibly messy and sad. What makes this story even more chilling is how intertwined it is with the larger Duggar narrative. The public facade, the religious beliefs, the ultra-conservative lifestyles, it all looks so shiny from the outside, but the reality is far from that. So where does this leave us? Right now, Jim and Bobye Holt are fighting to regain custody of their children, but it's clear they have a long way to go. Whether or not they'll actually follow through with the court's orders remains to be seen, and the future of their family is uncertain. But one thing's for sure, these kids deserve safety, love, and peace after everything they've been through. It's hard to even wrap my mind around all of this, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think Jim and Bobby can turn things around and repair the damage with their kids, or is this a situation where guardianship should stay with Christian? Let me know in the comments, and I'll keep you updated as this story unfolds. I'm Julie, and as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates on stories like this. See you next time.